And we were joking, Joe, that if we ever change the name of the show, we're going to change the name to Slumming It with Nick Kostos, because you, my friend, go from hosting Get Up this morning on ESPN. Now you're talking to me on national radio, on a national television, on Nesson. Great to have you, my friend, ESPN host and sports betting analyst, the very handsome and well-dressed Joe Fortenbaugh. What's going on, my brother? How are you?
Do not sell yourself short, my friend. You mentioned coming back from the break there, Mike Tirico on the call for the Super Bowl. How about that freaking guy? Calls the Super Bowl, gets on a private jet, flies over to Milan, where he'll anchor the Olympics, and then seemingly afterwards, I'm sure he'd stay for a little vacation. Meanwhile, a slap like you is talking to a slap like me, and we're trying to figure out what's happening in the world of college basketball. A far cry from the top of the heap, my friend.
I did like. So I was why I had ESPN on here on the TVs while I was doing my shows on Sunday morning. I feel like you did it for me. You didn't, but I feel like you did. You wore the purple velvet jacket on Super Bowl Sunday, my friend. That can't have been accidental. That's the number one jacket in the Fortenbaugh collection, right?
Well, it's close. I would have to put three of them in front of you and let you make the call, and I think you would end up going purple. But last year, I in New York. My wife and I were going out to dinner, and we went by this department store that had these jackets out. I'm going to spare everyone the details because it's not interesting. But I was getting ready to go down to New Orleans for the Super Bowl, and I looked at her, and it's like, look, I can't just show up for the Super Bowl and wear the same old stuff I'm always wearing. I got to get something to pop. Like, you and I are WWE guys. We understand the importance of props, of catchphrases, of appearances. So I wanted to go big with the jacket. So I got purple, I got green, and I got a navy blue. Now, the purple one really pops. The people of New Orleans loved it. But the thing is, it was the Super Bowl, and I figured, let's bring it back. The special occasions require a special dress. So that's why I brought it out. I know you're a huge fan. I appreciate you mentioning it.
Absolutely. And I loved having ESPN on my TV this morning and seeing you hosting Get Up. Now, our audience knows this, right? Like my listeners and viewers, they know that I'm a huge sports TV, sports radio geek. And I kind of love like everything that goes into it. And I get a lot of feedback from the audience that they kind of love it as well. Now, when you joined us about a month ago on the show, you were talking about what it was like this summer when you would host First Take, right? And you're sitting there at the desk and there's Stephen A. Smith and Ryan Clark and Cam Newton. And you're like the producers in your ear saying, jump in here, right? I think this is so fascinating, right? Because you're hosting this a couple hours ago. You're hosting one of the biggest shows in sports on television, right? You're hosting Get Up. Take us through like what that was like, the preparation beforehand. Take us inside the life of Joe Fortenbaugh this morning on ESPN hosting Get Up.
Great question, because I love nerding out about this stuff as well. So thank you for asking. It is a wildly different show than prepping for First Take. First Take, the producers and the people involved are doing a lot of work to put that show together. But from a hosting standpoint, it's basically this. All right, welcome them to the show, set up the question, get the hell out of the way. And that's pretty much it. Like you let RC and Stephen A. and Cam and whoever's on the show, you let them cook. You try to get a shot in or two when you get an opportunity. But for the most part, that show just goes and you're playing listener. And when you can facilitate and get them out, you get them out. This show, Get Up, is completely different. Get Up moves really fast. If you're really sitting there paying attention to it, there are a lot of different elements. You're going to ask a lot of questions. You're going to stand up and move around the studio during the segments. So you really have to be buttoned up just from an execution standpoint. But it's fun because learning those two shows, learning any shows, it just makes you more diverse in understanding what the role's like when you're on the other side of the table. Like, it's one thing to answer questions all day, but anyone who's answering questions as an analyst should learn how to do the hosting stuff, and the host should learn how to do the analyst stuff so you understand what it's like for the person in the other seat. So generally, when you're working with guys like Jeff Saturday and Dan Graziano and Jason McCourty, they make it easy. But that show moves really fast, so it's always awesome to watch Greeny host it because he's an absolute master at making that thing sing.
I always love, and like, I'll say, you can say it if you want. I'm guessing you agree with me, right? And I'll use like Mike Greenberg and Stephen A. as an example, right? When people will tell me like, oh, like Mike Greenberg, he sucks. Like Joe sucks. Like Stephen A sucks. It's like, well, like you can like not like their style for whatever the reason, but to imply that these guys are not like first ballot Hall of Fame, 5-star A-level broadcasters is ridiculous, right? And like, this like how good Mike Greenberg is. Dude, you did an awesome job. So a ton of credit to you. And I love seeing you in those roles in addition to doing sports betting analysis for our friends at ESPN. Joe Fortenbaugh is our guest. Nick Kostos, You Better You Bet, Westwood One Sports, presented by BetMGM. All right, my friend. I started the show today with the Super Bowl 61 odds board, talking about the teams at the top. Who do I like? And I believe I've settled on, for the moment, for right now, I reserve the right to change my mind, the San Francisco 49ers, who are currently 17-1 at BetMGM. I'm sure that you've given this some thought already, but if I handed Joe Fortenbaugh $100 and said, you got to bet someone, you need to pick someone, you can change your mind as early as tomorrow if you want to. But as of right now, is there a team that stands out to you for Super Bowl 61 and why?
I like where you're at with the Niners. I don't know if they're going to move the power substation or whatever's been causing all those problems, according to all the conspiracy theorists. But the one thing that stands out to me, because I was thinking about them when you and I were talking about doing this hit today, I said, where do I stand on the Niners? Tough division, great coach team. They always seem to show up offensively. I worry about the health of Christian McCaffrey. Like, dudes that get dinged up, the ones that are known for it, when they have a really healthy season, that's when I start to worry about the next season. Like any season Lamar Jackson makes it all the way through, my immediate concern is, can he do it again the next year? Niners are on the list. The first team that comes out is going to be the Chargers. I know everyone can make their jokes. I know everyone talks about how the Chargers fall flat every single year. I can't really defend that. What I can tell you is this. I've watched Jim Harbaugh win everywhere. Jim Harbaugh is one hell of a coach. He gets the most out of his team. And if he had an offensive line that didn't lose both starting tackles, I have a feeling they would have been far more competitive in that Patriots game and several other games where they struggled. I love Harbaugh's ability to get the most out of the team. I know people are concerned about Herbert. I am not. I think he's going to be good enough when the situation calls for it, and he gets a little bit more help around him. So in the AFC, that's one of the teams that stands out to me. I'm trying to keep myself away from the Lions because they're going to have a great schedule this year, but I always have to remind myself when it gets down to the most important time of the year, if you have money on the Lions, you have money on Jared Goff, and I just don't trust him to handle his business. So I'm not doing anything there. The Rams are the other one that caught my mind. I mean, what do we think? Stafford's coming back. You still have McVay. Secondary was an issue, but there's still a lot to like about that team. So those are the first ones that come to mind. I know the Super Bowl's in L.A. Both L.A. teams jump out. I'm not really sure where I'm at with any long shots at the moment, but those are the first two that came to mind.
Would you like to offer a Joe Fortenbaugh guarantee here that the L.A. Super Bowl will be the L.A. teams, Rams and Chargers, and saying it first here on You Better You Bet?
Right. Nothing like locking in on February 10th, which it's still more than a year away. Like, I don't know if people realize the Super Bowl next year's on February 14th, so we're over a year away from this game. And on top of that, though, here's the plus side. Because it's the 14th and it's President's Day weekend, that means people are off from work. Not us, but a lot of people get off from work on Monday. I'm very interested to see what the NFL does with that because people have been clamoring for the Super Bowl to be a national holiday for quite some time. Once society gets a taste at having a day off the day after the Super Bowl, they're not going back, Nick Kostos. They are not going back.
Have you told your wife yet that that next year's Super Bowl is on Valentine's Day, and if not, when are you planning on breaking that to her?
I haven't mentioned it. She always knows that time of year can be very hectic. Some years, like when I was doing radio, there were years I was at the Super Bowl. Some years for TV, I'm at the Super Bowl. She is well aware, and I think probably the significant other of anyone who works at ESPN is well aware that ESPN has the Super Bowl next year. It has been a very big talking point at the company for a while. We've had a countdown clock up years, maybe even longer. I've only been on campus for a little over 2 years since I came in from Vegas, but we've had a countdown clock up there for a while. So I think everyone's aware that it's like an all-hands-on-deck situation next year. She knows what comes with the territory. The thing that she's not ultra fond of is me trying to sell her. She's the executive director of this dog rescue in Connecticut called Dog Star Rescue. She's all about giving back to the puppies, which is wonderful. She's 10 times the human being I will ever be. But she's got her big gala the weekend of WrestleMania, and me hinting at the fact that I want to go to Vegas for WrestleMania not going well. So that's the problem right now. Not next year's Super Bowl, it's WrestleMania.
My problem is that I've been with so Thursday is the 7th year anniversary that I met my wife, and every single year she's surprised that there's an NCAA tournament. Like they're doing this again, like again. Like, yes, honey, right. It's every single year. I want to ask you about WrestleMania. There's a lot of people, Joe, are a little, and I know ESPN has a relationship with WWE. I certainly understand. I love that, honestly. That a lot of people are a little critical right now of the creative direction. I'm not asking you to slam it at all. I'm very excited for WrestleMania. Got the chance to talk to CM Punk last week on Radio Row, main eventing WrestleMania against Roman Reigns.
I was very, very jealous. Very jealous
cool.
of that.
He was, honestly, I didn't know what to expect. I'd never spoken to him before. He has kind of like an ornery reputation. I don't know if it's just because he's older now. He's 47. He could not have been cooler both. So this is a true story, right? And you've interviewed wrestlers, right? So CM Punk goes over to sit down, and we pre-taped it, right? So it was not live. And I said to him before we started the interview, I go, just so you know, I said the full word. I said, I'm an effing mark. Just so he would be prepared, right? That means that, just in case people don't know, that means I'm a huge wrestling fan. He looks me in the eye and goes, that's great. So am I. Why do you think I got into this business? And I'm just like, hell yeah, man. This is going to be awesome. What are your thoughts on the build to WrestleMania right now?
So I'm still coming off. Well, I mean, the Breaker injury news is devastating. That's the way he had been going. Like, he's become one of my favorite guys. So the fact, and I was really interested to see what they were going to be doing with the Vision and how Seth Rollins was going to come back into the mix. And I'm really hoping Rollins' injury is going to be something that's cleared up by Mania time. So there's so much out there that's just hanging in the air right now. My thought is always this. Before I rush to judgment, which I do with everything in my life, just sit back, understand these guys have a plan, understand they're trying to give us the best product possible. I watched Unreal. I love the show, and they're definitely working to make sure we've got the best possible product. It's not like everyone's sitting on their hands. I came out of the Rumble a little underwhelmed, but that's mostly my own fault because I think I went in with too high expectations. I wanted to see Jericho. I wanted to see Seth Rollins. I was rooting for LA Knight to win. There was a whole lot of stuff going on, and when it doesn't come down, like I'm sitting there disappointed. It's like, well, I really only set myself up for that. So the road to WrestleMania right now, you throw me Punk, you throw me Roman, I'm very excited. I like the storyline right now with Liv. She's dragging this thing out. I want to see where that goes, but I'm most interested in what's going to happen with the Vision and where LA Knight mixes into all of this, because I think that's going to be the key to all of Mania. We see where Rhodes is going. We see where Drew and Fatu are going. If all of that's trending in that direction, okay, that'll work. What's going to happen with the Vision? Because they've done an excellent job of building this thing up. It can't come in as some mid-card, underwhelming thing at the biggest event of the year. Those guys have been cooking for a while. That's what I'm excited about.
And look, like WWE is kind of like NFL in a way where NFL fans can complain and whine and bitch and moan as much as they want. We're all going to be tuned in, and we're all going to love WrestleMania coming up in Las Vegas in a little bit. I'm going to give you a WrestleMania hot take. You tell me if you think this is crazy or not. Are you ready? My prediction, and especially with the Braun Breaker injury now, and we don't know if he's going to be ready for WrestleMania or not, like an actual 4 to 6 week injury for Rick Steiner's son, Braun Breaker. My prediction is the main event of WrestleMania on Sunday night in Las Vegas will end up being a 3-way, like last year on Saturday, with Rollins, Punk, and Reigns, and that's what's going to happen. Joe Fortenbaugh's thoughts on my opinion.
Okay.
You can tell me I'm crazy if you think so.
No, so I love this, but here's what I got to ask as a follow-up. How do we get to that? How does Rollins weasel his way into that match? Punk is the champ, and Roman earned the shot. I can't see how those two are going to welcome him in. So how do you get him into that match?
Oh, this is
it because he never
easy.
Officially lost the title?
Because he never lost the title because he had to give it up due to injury.
Yeah. Okay, so that can work. That can work. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to get any complaints from Joe Fortenbaugh out of that, which meanwhile, now I got to run something by you. This isn't a hot take. I'm not sure if you saw it, so I'm going to need you, when you go to a break at some point, to go back and watch this. I'll try to send it to you, and then I want you to talk to your audience about it if you deem it worthy. Going into Royal Rumble, on Get Up. I was a guest that Friday. Harry Douglas was doing That Boy Bad, and he said it ended with
which,
Stone
by
Cold
the way,
Steve
can I
Austin.
just
He
say
wanted
this
to put a
about
record
That Boy Bad? Can I just say this, Joe, quickly? I want you to continue. I was texting like Ryan Glasspiegel, who works for Front Office Sports, like a sports media critic. I texted him like 2 months ago, and I said, That Boy Bad is the funniest thing on TV. Not just sports television. So I love that. I just wanted to say that. Please continue with you and Harry Douglas on Get Up the Friday before the Rumble.
No. That's how everyone recognizes him. If you ever talk to Harry, he goes through the airport. That's what everyone yells at him. He's always being yelled, That Boy Bad. Like, that's become a thing. I don't even think they realize he played NFL football with Roddy White and Julio Jones. Like, they know him from That Boy Bad. So he's going to end That Boy Bad on Stone Cold, and he makes a joke as he looks at me. He goes, I'm going to give you a stunner right after. I go, do that. I go, I absolutely do that. I go, let's do it. He goes, really? I go, yes. I go, don't run this by anyone because they're going to shut it down. Everyone's first thought is no. I go, this is the perfect example of ask forgiveness, not permission. Let's just do it. And he goes, okay. I go, one thing. I go, we're not going to have any time to rehearse this. You got to commit. You got to go all the way down because I'm going to, and if you don't, I'm going to break my jaw. So you got to sell it. Are you going to go all the way? And he said, yes. So we went and we did it on air, and I sold the hell out of it, but it freaked out everybody because, like, no one knew it happened. So the control booth was freaking out. I got a text that the guy in the control booth who was running the show was screaming, don't go to commercial until he opens his eyes. We have to show the audience that he's okay. And, like, Peter Schrager was guest hosting for Greeny, and this is never going to be able to happen when Greeny's hosting the show. And Schrager didn't know it was coming, and he had no idea what to do. So everyone was just like floored. They thought I was knocked out, and they didn't know what to do. So I'm going to send you this clip, and I need you to rate the stunner, knowing, A, Harry and I are not professional wrestlers, and B, we did not rehearse it. We only just talked about it for like 45 seconds. I'm going to send it to you after this hit.
Sight unseen, you sold it better than Vince McMahon did and all the times he took the stunner. And just my last thing on this is I interviewed MJF last week, and I said to him, I would love for you to insult me. That's kind of like his gimmick. He's like, oh, don't worry, I'm going to. And I said, also, will you please put me through a table? I don't think wrestling fans understand, like non-wrestling fans understand that wrestling fans, we like want to take bumps. Like, I want to get rock bottom by The Rock. I want to take the Stone Cold. It would be the honor of a lifetime to get Sweet Chin Music by Shawn Michaels. Joe, it's an honor having you on the show. Awesome job on Get Up. You kill it for ESPN. On Twitter at Joe Fortenbaugh. Stay well, and we'll catch up hopefully before the NCAA tournament, my friend.
Love you, buddy. Thanks for having me. I tried to have Hulk Hogan choke me out once, but he said he can't do that because it's become a liability issue, so he could only just do a normal picture. One of the most disappointing moments of my life because I just wanted to get choked out by one of the greatest ever.
Oh, I thought what you were going to say is that doesn't work for me, brother, with Hulk Hogan. Joe is an absolute stud.